Hey, Al's A-listers, let's go. It's Thursday, March 5th, and happy Women's History Month, everybody. Tonight's episode is going to be hot. It's going to be good. Burglars and bail, IRS change, bankruptcy, burger math, and body cam blocking. Yes, you heard it right here. All right, hold on, guys. Y'all got to stay there with me. I got to turn off my notifications so there's no interruptions. All right, let's see who's joining us tonight down in the chat. Sandra McGee, I see you're here. Happy Women's History Month, ladies. Hey, everyone. Pisces Unicorn, always good to see your name when I sign on. Nisha Phillips, I've been wondering where you've been hiding. I'm glad you're back. Brenda K. All right, Brenda K. Brenda K says, good evening, everyone. Please pray for the military and their families, especially those who have already lost loved ones. That's so sad, Brenda K. We were talking about that yesterday on Tavis Smiley. I just get upset thinking about it. Caramel 1977. Yes, happy Friday Eve, A-listers. Go ahead and like and share. Be sure to hit that like and share. Brian and Simone Adams, thank you so much. I love seeing the two of you join us. Good evening, A-listers. Brian and Simone are back for another great episode. At LVF99, thank you so much for dropping in. And what? We got a super chat before the show has even started from Caramel 1977 Cancer. Caramel 1977 Cancer, you just want to see me take it off and keep going. I will. All right, SL Warrior, thank you for dropping into the chat for us. Doreen Pierce, always good to see your name. At Davis62151, thank you. Tara Ford. All right, Tara Ford. All right, I'm starting to get used to that name. Welcome back. Leandra 7140. What's going on? Christine R. Hola L. Yes. Carol Go 918. Hey, you must be new. I haven't seen that name. Welcome though, if you are. Thank you for joining us. Dominic Starr. Couldn't wait to see those emojis. Gloria Spiller. So nice to have you with us tonight. JP Mills and My Star Love. Everybody, welcome to the show. Don't forget, we have a new show day, which is on Mondays and Thursdays now. That's right, Mondays and Thursdays at 9:30, though. The day may have changed, but the time did not. So instead of Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're on Mondays and Thursdays. Now, listen, tonight on Celebrity Court of Public Opinion, we got 4 headlines, we got 4 legal lanes, and 1 universal truth. And that truth is fame does not stop consequences when it comes to Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. It just puts better lighting on it, just as if I need some better lighting here. All right, tonight it's going to be interesting. Cher's son. Yes, Cher's son, Elijah. You remember Elijah? Well, he gets arrested again in New Hampshire on burglar-related allegations. And then guess what? He gets arrested again the next day. Well, reports are describing bail issues and preventative detention concerns. That means the court may not just be judging what allegedly happened inside that house. It may also be judging whether he can be trusted outside of the house. All right, you remember Quavo, who was a part of that rap group? Well, guess what? It's reported that he's facing a federal tax lien. Ooh, not a lien. Quavo, you don't want a lien. That's nearly $3 million. And let me tell you something. When the IRS enters the chat, that's not gossip. That's not shade. And it's definitely not a rumor. That means they know your social security number. And they want to see some receipts or else they're going to collect. All right, after we talk about Quavo, we're going to then talk about Pinky Cole. Yeah, Pinky Cole. You remember that business owner who was doing so well with her restaurant, Slutty Vegan? Well, guess what? Miss Cole is not only on the new episode or season of Real Housewives of Atlanta, but she's also filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And the reports are citing over $1 million are owned in SBA loans and additional state tax debt. And the internet loves to call bankruptcy failure, but law may call it something else. And in her eyes, she calls it strategy, survival, and a very public, smart move. And last but not least, Justin Timberlake is suing. Yep, Justin Timberlake is back in celebrity court. He is suing to block the release of police body cam footage from his 2024 DWI arrest, because in today's celebrity culture, the courtroom is only half the battle. The other half is whether the worst moments become permanent public content. And guess what? He says He doesn't want it out there. So he thinks it's something that him and his brand cannot bounce back from. Now, remember, this is not criminal court. This is the court of public opinion, which is why I love it so much. So in this court, I bring the facts, the attorneys bring the law, and you, the viewers, you are the one that bring the verdict of whether they are guilty or not guilty of being in the court of public opinion. All right, court is officially in session, and joining us tonight is going to be men's night only. We have two of our legal beagles, Sean Carter and Jason Weiss, counselors. Welcome back to Celebrity Court.
Thanks, you, Your Honor. Excited to be here.
Very good. All right, everyone, please remember, everyone is presumed innocent. We are discussing allegations, charges, lawsuits, and public reporting. We're not issuing real verdicts, even though Sean Carter sometimes will let you know. You better watch out. All right, first up. Okay, you know we all love Cher. Oh my goodness, we were just talking about it in the back in the chamber. Our new producer doesn't know who Cher is. Hey, listeners, our new producer does not know who Cher is. He's from Mexico. We'll give him grace. But first up, we have Cher's son, Elijah Blue Allman. Now, report says he was arrested in New Hampshire on burglary and related charges, and then arrested again within days. Now, coverage describes allegation that he was found inside a home without permission and charged with burglary, criminal mischief, and breach of bail, with court actions involving stricter conditions and preventive detention being discussed in the reports. Now, legally, this is where things start to get more serious than the headline. Because once a court starts hearing words like breach, noncompliance, and repeat arrests, the conversation shifts, and so do the charges. It's no longer just what happened that night. It becomes, can this person follow rules at all that are coming from the court? All right, so really quickly, I need to know, Sean Carter, you know you're our inside reporter as well as our legal beagle. Sean, what is going on here with this unlawful injury, suspicious circumstances, and behavior that raises real concern about his compliance as well as his public safety? Talk to us here.
All right, let me give you the facts. So we're talking about a few days ago, for some reason, Cher's son, right, adult son, 49-year-old son, decides he's going to go to St. Paul's, one of these exclusive prep schools, and just sort of, I guess, relive his childhood. He's in a dining hall, just chilling. But remember, he's in there not just chilling, but also he's smoking. But you can't smoke anywhere, all right? He's smoking a cigarette. They're like, hey, you got to go. He starts poking people with his cane. They then come and arrest him. Then they arrest him. They put him in jail. They let him out the next day saying, hey, personal recognizance. You're Cher's son. We can trust you. 2 days later, they get a call from a woman a few towns over. Somebody done broken in my house. She in the bathroom, scared to death. Please come. They find him. He's not ransacking the house or nothing. No. He's sitting on the couch, once again, smoking cigarettes. Damn, he likes cigarettes. And just chilling. And when they ask him, what the hell are you doing? He's like, the owner said I could be here. He said, the owner's upstairs in the closet, scared, crying. All right. In the fetal position, you got to go to jail. And when he goes to jail this time, he says, hey, let me out my personal recognizance. I'm Cher's son. And they were like, I don't like Cher like that. I don't want to tell you, but I voted against her on Moonstruck. I ain't got nothing to do with Cher. You got to stay in jail, fool. And that's where we get now. That's where we are now.
Okay, so Jason, explain to us, what is he charged with, and the fact that he had just gotten out of prison, right? Well, first of all, he has had a line of issues with the law, right? He has many cases with his drug use. Cher has been supporting him for years. So tell me, is he charged in a different state now? Is this where he lives? What was he actually charged and booked for?
So he was booked for burglary. He was also then booked a second time for breach of his bail and breach of being allowed out. If it was in different jurisdictions, not 100% sure, but it does mean the fact that, look, we let you out the first time on your own. We thought you were going to be a good boy, and we were waiting for you to behave. And guess what? You waited 48 hours. You screwed up. This is it. This time, we're going to hold you for a little while.
Okay, so that's the issue. One of the issues is the bail issue, right? So when a person gets arrested or accused of violating bail conditions, how fast does a judge stop viewing the person as unstable or struggling and start just viewing them as non-compliant, Attorney Carter?
Oh, immediately. Think about it. All right, this is like you sent your kid to their room, right? And then next thing you know, you get a call, they out in the club. All right. I don't know about you, my mom was coming out with her robe on. All right, and footy pajamas to come drag me out the club, because it's one thing, all right, to have done something wrong. It's another thing that I told you to stay in your room, and then you go out, and here he's got a problem because I think they're going to charge him with burglary, and burglary is probably overcharging him. Burglary means not only did you break in somewhere, he broke in for sure, but that you had an unlawful intent to go in. You went in to steal something, to assault somebody. He says, I just went in and have a cigarette. That's not illegal, all right? And so he's probably going to get, instead of burglary, trespassing. But of course, he had forcible entry. He broke the woman's window. He's got a problem, but it's probably, unfortunately for the rest of us, not a felony problem. The one thing I do want to point out here, and this is important because we got Brittany coming up next week. Cher tried to get a conservatorship over him in 2023, saying that boy crazy. Or I'm sorry, as my mama would say, he can't get right. And the court said, now, free Jeremiah, free Elijah, free Brittany, free who's the your girl,
Wendy Williams, free Wendy Williams.
We may need to stop all this freeing and maybe keep some more people in conservatorship.
I agree. You know what? I did a documentary on Britney Spears, and I'll never forget on my old show when we talked about Britney Spears, and I was like, listen, her dad did what he needed to do. She's really not healthy. And when I tell you I got all this hate mail, I got hate in my DMs were filled with like, oh, who are you? You should die. You don't, let her live. Her dad's taking advantage of her. Now look what we've seen.
Yep.
What we've seen. Yep. The cops have been called out to her place over 13 times in the last 2 to 3 years. Like, what is really going on? So, Jason, let me ask you this question. At what point does I want to say, I guess not the legal system, the court system, at what point does the court system stop being a therapist, though? Like, and just, put his man away for his actions? Because it seems like in his case, they just keep giving him more and more chances. And what I guess I'm trying to say is it seems like the court is leaning more heavily on getting him help instead of making him responsible. How does the court decide? And does the fact that he's Cher's son, like, cause some type of leniency with the courts for that?
I don't think the fact that he's Cher's son gives him automatic leniency. But Cher is a person with very significant financial resources. So Cher can make it to the point where he can go into a top-rated rehab place. He can have a counselor. He can have a driver. He can have everything that the ordinary people like me and you, and not Attorney Carter because he's not ordinary, but the rest of us, the benefits that we don't have. The problem is he's abusing all of these leniencies, as you put it, or these extras that he's entitled to. And I have a feeling this time the court is not going to put up with it as much. Like, I don't think he's doing jail, and I don't think he's doing that, but he may get taken into custody for some sort of psychiatric evaluation and help, and that's where he may stay. So he may be at a halfway home, a rehab center, probably not behind bars, but probably not free to leave.
Gotcha. All right. So how strong is this case against him, attorneys? Attorney Carter, let's start with you. On a scale of 1 to 10, how strong is the state's case?
9.87538% on least trespass, criminal trespass. Maybe burglary is a little too much, all right, because he only wanted to have a cigarette. By the way, Elijah, if you watch it, and I hope you're not, because I hope they don't have YouTube in jail. But brother, you can smoke. You're supposed to smoke outside, by the way. Why you gonna break in somebody's house and then go smoke up their house? All right, they're trying to resell that house. I don't smoke in my house. Don't smoke. Go outside where you're supposed to smoke.
But he started smoking in the school. That's what's and poking the kids with a cane. Jason, on a scale of 1 to 10,
A 10, just based on the bail problem, right? He went in, he was out on a condition of bail. That's it. A 10, no ifs, ands, or buts, and that's where he's getting charged. And I guess he liked the song, even though his mom didn't sing it. Smoking in the boys' room. What can I tell you?
All right. Nisha Phillips says, just being Cher's son can't help you when it gets in trouble. She can get him a good lawyer and a bail money these days. Being a celebrity ain't nothing. All right, Izzy Marie, 1, 2, 3. Okay, Izzy Marie, first time catching a live. I'm excited. Hello, everyone. Hello, Izzy. So glad to have you. Let's see, Shaitan. Yes, we need to address Shaitan. Shaitan is away today. She told me to tell you guys that she was put in time out, which is not true. Shaitan, she's very much Shaitan. She decides when she works and when she doesn't work here in the courts. Blaze Brown, 9102. Is that Shaz? Who's Shaz? I'm not sure who Shaz is.
That's her.
Shaitan says, y'all look good tonight. Okay. Christine R says, this is what happens when you don't teach your children about God. Blaze Brown says, hello, Attorney Jason and Attorney Sean. Thanks for the breakdown. SL Warrior said he was looking for matches. He's now going to be looking for another lawyer. All right, now from a courtroom asking whether someone can follow rules to the IRS, where the government does not care about your vibe, does not care about your brand, and definitely does not care if you're a celebrity or not. All it cares is, are you paying your taxes? Well, the second case is about our friend Quavo. Now, multiple reports say the IRS filed a federal tax lien of around $2.9 million tied to allegedly unpaid taxes across multiple years. Now, let's be clear. A lien is not a whisper. Ooh, Lord, I hope I never get one of these. A lien is the government putting its name on your financial future. It is the IRS saying, before you move money, sell assets, refinance, or clean up the books, understand something. We get paid first. Now, for celebrities, that kind of headline hits differently because fame makes people assume wealth is endless sometimes because they are always flashing and always, stunting. But income and cash flow are not the same thing. Visibility and liquidity are not the same thing. And being successful does not automatically means that you have money. All right, let's go to you, Sean Carter. Explain to me, how did Quavo find his way in this situation? Now, I just want to preface this by saying, he wasn't like Offset. He was like the quieter one doing his thing. I thought he was hardworking. I thought he was all about, doing what's right. Tell us what happened and where did he go left?
I think it's the pandemic. He had paid all of his taxes all throughout until 2020. So, for instance, he only owes $2.9 million for the last 3 years of 2021, 22, and 23, likely probably 24 and 25 as well. But they're coming after him for those last 3 years. And so it means he was paying his taxes up until then, which is kind of amazing because I didn't know how he could pay the taxes and get that grill, but he was making a lot of money. And then he decided that for some reason taxes were for girls. I don't know what it was. It might have had something to do with, unfortunately, the horrible death of was Offset, right?
No, Offset married Cardi B. I can't remember who.
Take off.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, and that was actually his nephew as well. And so, since then he's kind of lapsed a little bit. Now, the thing about it is, in his filing, he has money. That's not the only money he has, but, he still has this lien now. And when the IRS puts a lien on your property, basically they're saying, look, we got dibs on all this. We're not necessarily going to come take it today, but if you decide to sell it, we're going to get our $2.9 million first.
Yep.
And they can also go to people who are paying you. So, for instance, the people who pay royalties and say, hey, instead of sending Quavo the money, send us that money until we get $2.9 million.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Attorney Jason, break down what a federal tax lien is.
It's the same. Look, there's two types of tax liens. Federal, that means it's coming from the IRS because that's a federal agency. And a state tax lien would be states that have income tax that you don't pay. Florida doesn't have income tax, so the chances of you having a state lien are smaller, even though you can have the lien on property tax and real property tax and real estate tax and all of that, but you don't get personal income tax here in Florida. Incentive for everybody to come down to South Florida. But at the same time, look, I'm surprised the IRS is allowing that. You know, this guy is insta rich and insta famous. I'm surprised they're not saying, look, you know, give us that mouthful of teeth and give us those chains off your neck, and we're gonna come take it. Again, like Attorney Carter said, if he ever tries to sell any of the property that has the lien on it, they're going to get paid first. So if he sells a home for $4 million, the first $3 million is going to the IRS, and he can keep the surplus. But I wouldn't be shocked if the IRS does not start sending letters and start going and trying to collect from, take his jewelry, take his royalties, take any rent rolls, take whatever. They're standing first in line, and they say to everybody else, you're behind us. We don't care.
Let me ask you this, because in Tekashi 6ix9ine in the state of Florida, remember they went after all his assets? Didn't he have a federal lien? And didn't also one of those rappers and his mom get caught in some type of something, and they're in Florida as well? Yeah. What type of lien was that? Those
are federal liens. Remember, the IRS. The IRS is a federal government agency, so they're going to even trump the state ones. The state liens that it can only get it is you don't pay your real estate taxes, you don't pay your property taxes. Then you can, like, you hear about it all the time. People go and buy property off a tax lien, right? Mm-hmm. You can own a $2 million house by paying off somebody else's tax lien for $30 or $40 or $50,000, and guess what? You now own a $2 million home. But anything that comes from the IRS, that's automatic a federal tax lien, and that's going to trump everyone else.
Nisha Phillips says they can get the $3 million out of his mouth.
That's what I was saying.
I was thinking the same thing. Like, he looked like he was worth like a couple of million right there. Look at the rings. Yeah. I promise you, I would just take that over to whoever and be like, here, stop, get off my neck. Like, just take all of this. I don't need none of this. I don't know about the teeth, because that means he had to go get some new teeth. But I mean, I would give all the jury up. Okay, Sean Carter, I want to come back to you though really quickly about. Let's talk about legitimate pathways, because I can imagine that we probably have some A-listers that have had some tax issues. What about, why hasn't somebody this wealthy, with all the support of a business manager, all of this support of a lawyer, why haven't they created some type of payment plan or negotiated some type of resolution on his behalf, or even to buy yourself time, challenge the amount?
You're right. Those are all good questions, but you can't ask those of Quavo. I don't understand anything that man has said in all the years he's made all this money. All right. But you're right, though. Normally, if you're a reasonable person, so you're A-lister, here's what you do. You call the IRS and you say, look, I don't have your money, but I'm going to get it to you on Tuesday. And the IRS at the beginning is very cool about this. Trust me. All right. They will set up and say, you know what? Hey, fine. You know what? Pay me $50 a month and until, until 3,000, the year 3,000. We don't give a damn, but just pay us something. And then, so he probably had a payment plan, which he stopped making payments on. Remember, around to the time of 2021 was the time that the Migos kind of broke up and they all decided to do their solo projects, and found out that a lot of people want to hear three people mumbling, but nobody wants to hear one person mumbling, right? And so some of the solo projects have been working out. So he's like, hey, I thought I was going to have money. I'm a little short now. The other thing he can try to do, but it's probably not going to work for him, is to offer in compromise. So, okay, I owe you $2.9 million. But what about if I give you 1 point? And he was like, Chris Rock in that movie, I'm gonna get you sucker. What if I give you one rib? What if I give you 1.8 million? Can we just let it go? Yeah. And here's the thing about it. The IRS will do that if they think that's the only 1.8 billion you have. But if he got $2 million in his mouth, they're gonna bring a dentist over. All right. And now that said, the only good thing he has going for him, and why he's not had some of the things happen to the other people like Tekashi, is that they see some potential, and the IRS is a lot like a pimp in this regard. And here's what I mean by this. If they think you can still go out and earn and get money for them, they'll let you go for a while. And so they're not going to take his teeth out, right? Because then he won't get the money, right? So it's almost like a pimp. You're not going to slap you in the face. That's your money maker, right? It just, sort of hit you in the ribs. And so the IRS is going to try to look at it from that standpoint. And I know way too much about pimping, apparently. But the point is that the IRS is going to try to get that $2.9 million. And it's weird. It's a weird part of the government, because every other part of government is interested in justice and all this. These are straight up mobsters. All right. I want my money. All right. Quavo better have my money. And so they're going to do whatever they can to make sure they get as close to 2.9 million as they can.
as they can.
And they're working it out.
Especially if they know you have it. Especially if they know you have it.
And for the A-listers, look, if the IRS ever puts a lien or sends you these letters or do whatever, do exactly what Attorney Carter said. You pick up the phone, you call them, you wait on hold for an hour and a half, and then you get to speak to them, and you make an offer. Look, I can't pay you all the back owed taxes, but I'd like to get on a payment plan. I can offer $20 a month, $25 a month, $30 a month, whatever it is. And as long as you consistently on time and not late make them, they will leave you alone.
You guys know, I have had 102 jobs. And like I told you before, when I was a banker, I had to be a business manager. So I used to have to know how to file taxes. And I got I got a P10 and everything. I'm a registered tax preparer. And what the lawyers are saying is so true. I find myself on the phone if I had a client in default or owing taxes. You have to pick up the phone. One thing that they do not like is you ignoring them. But if you pick up the phone, life does, and I promise, get better. All right, so let's talk about the strength of the case against Quavo. All right, Attorney Carter, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much trouble is he in?
11.5.
Ooh,
don't mess with the IRS. All right, Attorney Weiss.
100. He's a 10. I mean, that's it. They've got him. But if he enters into some sort of payment plan, then it's going to be a 0 as long as he keeps to it.
All right. Fuzzy Bigelow says, don't ever ignore the IRS. Never ends well. Good evening, Judge Al. Late but here. We'll take it, Fuzzy Bigelow. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, everybody. Do me a favor, please. If you enjoyed tonight's show, can you please hit that like button? If you've already hit the like button, please hit that subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, be sure to hit the share button and invite some folks over to learn about the law off of the backs of all the celebrities that we love until they end up here in celebrity court. As always, don't forget to turn on your notifications because we have a new night, which is Monday and Thursday. We're back to Monday and Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Soon, we're going to go to 1 hour. And last but not least, continue to jump down in those chats. All right, now from owing the government to asking the court for room to breathe, because our next case is about bankruptcy and whether the culture confuses restructuring with financial irresponsibility. All right, our third case is about Pinky Cole. Now, the Atlanta News First and People report she filed for Chapter 11 on March 2nd. And reports say that according to her major debts include a record $1.2 million in SBA loans and nearly $192,000 to the government, to the Georgia's Department of Government. And as usual, the internet hears one word, that's bankruptcy, and the performance starts. She broke. It's over. I told you so. Well, they also are saying the empire is crumbling. But Chapter 11, I want Attorney Carter to actually explain it to us. Chapter 11, does it automatically mean the business is dead? Or can it often mean the owner is trying to keep the machine alive while restructuring their debt under court supervision? This is always a question that's always fascinated me because some people use it like they're supposed to and some people don't. All right, Attorney Carter, tell us what's going on here with this slutty vegan.
Right. So understand this is a numerical thing. It's very simple, right? Chapter 7 means, yeah, you broke, take all this stuff, I ain't got it. Chapter 11 means, I got a lot of stuff I want to keep, but I got a current cash flow issue. According to her filing now, she has a cash flow issue. She has income of $14,000 a month, but expenses of $41,000. And she's saying, hey, we need to restructure some of this stuff so I can get it ahead of it. But here's the thing about it is, she listed on her bankruptcy filing $3.7 million in assets. Girlfriend ain't broke, all right? But she don't want to sell everything she owns.
How much?
$3.7 million.
Okay.
She got money. She just doesn't have cash.
Right.
You see what I mean? You think about it. If you like Jason and own one of those big Florida estates, you got money. You just may not have cash this week, right? And so the thing is that she's trying to basically restructure it so that it says, hey, look, you know what? Let's make the payments lower every month. I'll up this and maybe move a few things here. But for the most part, she's just trying to keep the empire going and like make it easier for herself then she puts away. If she had to tomorrow, she could sell all that stuff and still walk away with something. But why would that?
Carter, do you remember? Oh, wait a minute. Let me get this super chat out the way. All right. Allie Good, 321. Thank you so much for the super chat. We'll take it. We'll take it. The men's night. We'll take it. Sean Carter, do you remember when she was kind of blowing up and the publicity around her was that it was just people couldn't get enough of her vegan everything? Do you think that she expanded too quickly and that expansion didn't match the PR?
I don't know. It's hard for me to say because I'm not at all a vegan. I ain't putting nothing in my mouth, including Renee, that don't have meat in it. All right, I'm a meat person. All right, but that said, though, it probably got a little ahead of her. She probably, made some, marketing deals, etc., thinking there'd be more business than there was. But she was doing okay. I mean, think about it. She got that she got a $2.8 million home somewhere. So, put it this way, she's not gonna, you don't have to worry. You're not gonna see her on OnlyFans anytime soon.
Right. Okay. So generally 197071 says, anyone here tried her food? Is it any good? I went to a pop-up of hers and I had the burger and it was good, but
he had a thing.
It was good, but I'm a burger guy. It was good, but I knew that it wasn't. I knew it was beans. I think she used beans or something as an alternative or something. So I knew it wasn't like some places that you go to that are vegan where you're like, oh, I can't tell the difference. Right. I could tell the difference in the texture of that particular food. So that was mine. I don't know if anybody else can share. Please let us know. Oh, all right, Brenda K. Brenda K. Brenda K, thank you so much for the super chat. Love this. Brenda K says she's smart. If the really wealthy use it all the time, why can't she? All right, well, I guess you're right. I was going to ask that to you, Jason. So is this a smart tactic for her, filing for Chapter 11? And on the other side of Chapter 11, what are the downsides of doing it? Is there a certain number of times that you can file Chapter 11 or not?
So I'm not sure if there's a certain amount of times that you can file a Chapter 11. I know there is a time barrier for how many times you can do it. I think it's a 7-year time period, but please don't quote me on that. If she truly wants to bring the business back and she wants to give it a shot and she wants it to work, then Chapter 11 is the way to go. But if she just wants to throw her hands up in the air and say, you know what, I tried, I failed, I can't do it, then you do a Chapter 7. And look, once they set a plan in place on an 11, see, that's what you do. The trustee and the court and everybody, you work on a plan. And you say, okay, I can't do $14,500 a month, but I could do $5,000 a month. Just like we were talking about in the IRS. If you stick on that plan, you're good to go. You fall 2 months behind, and the court's either going to move to dismiss your bankruptcy, or what the court is going to do is move it to a 7, and then that means that you're losing everything, you're selling off all the assets, and you're trying to make your creditors whole. So again, if she wants to continue with this business, an 11 is absolutely the way to go. She said, I made a mistake, I need help getting out of it. She wants to throw her hands up in the air and say, I'm done, I can't do this. Then she's going to convert it to a 7, and that's it. All done with that franchise.
So, Sean, you mentioned earlier that her bills were ringing or close to $40,000, and she is only making $15,000. How'd that happen?
Remember part of what she did. We just talked about it last year, 2025. She actually bought the business back. Right, so she had raised some money apparently from someone to buy this business back, and so there's probably some debt payments on that money that she needs to make, and it's not. I heard it was only $14,000. I was like, damn, right? What are they doing? I know some Uber drivers making that much, and so the business is probably not progressing as fast as she wants it to, but she's saying, hey, we can get this back together. I'm Pinky, so let me give it a little chance. And by the way, as far as anyone thinking about it out there, Chapter 11, Jason, Attorney Weiss is absolutely right. You set up a 5-year plan, and if you pay every month, et cetera, at the end of the 5 years, and they've worked it out mathematically so that if you get the plan approved, you have to make sure that it makes sense financially. So if you can go through it 5 years, et cetera. Now, that's a great out, except for the fact that, please understand, you don't want to do this lightly because it's a pain in the butt because you're under court supervision. So if you said, oh, I wanted to go buy a car, you've actually got to go and ask the trustee for permission, right?
And they're not approving a Lexus or an Infinity. You're getting a Honda Civic. It's a great car, but that's what you're getting. So I personally think that on this case, if she follows through with her bankruptcy, that's a 10. But if she doesn't follow through with the bankruptcy, she'll move it and it'll be a 7, and we'll move on.
All right, Attorney Carter, how real is this case?
Same numbers. I'm gonna get 8.5 just to be in the middle. But because I want to get to Justin.
Yeah, we got to get to Justin.
You can't wait to get to Justin.
Yep.
Why don't it? Okay, well, fine. We'll just skip right on past any questions that I may have had. Attorney Carter. Now, from trying to save the business on paper to trying to stop footage from hitting the public, because our final case asks a very modern question. When does privacy end and public appetite begins? This case is so interesting to me. Yep, everybody, our last case is about one of my favorites. That's Justin Timberlake until he messed with Janet Jackson. But anyway, Justin Timberlake. Multiple outlets report that he has filed a lawsuit to stop Sag Harbor from releasing police body cam footage connected to his 2024 DWI arrest. He's arguing that the release would cause serious reputational harm. I am curious out of my mind. Like, it's a DWI. I need to know what he did to really he feels like it would ruin his reputation. Okay, and there is this, which is where celebrities law gets especially very interesting. Because yes, there may be a legal argument here, but there's also an image argument, a media argument, and a timing argument. Now, this is not just about whether footage exists. It's about whether the public gets access to a visual that could define the story more powerfully than any filing, any statement, or any headline ever could. Because once people see it, and I want to see it, the case is no longer legal. It becomes cultural. All right, judges, I need to know, first of all, this is what I want to know. How is he able, Sean Carter, tell us what's happening in this case first before I jump in.
I'll give you a very quick one. June 2024, Justin is driving down the road, gets pulled over. He said he only had a drink when he's out. The officer says, I think you have more than that. He tries to do field sobriety tests. He's falling all over the place. And the guy's like, you got to go to jail. And remember, at the time, it was famous because Justin said, do you know who I am? And he was like, no, I'm under 40. I have no idea who you are. All right. And I have no affinity to you. I'm not Sean, and grateful that you exposed Janet Jackson's breast. The only way I was ever going to see it. And so he says, you know what? You got to go to jail. He goes to jail, and we think it's over. They make him pay like a $5,000 fine. He's fine, right? But then there's a Freedom of Information Act, or in New York, it's called the Freedom of Information Law, but the FOIA request where the media says, hey, we want to see these images, right? We need to get this on TMZ. Mm-hmm. And so after that the FOIA request finally comes through, they say, okay, we're going to release the video to you. They don't just have the video of him on the side of the road. They got 8 hours of him because he was in that cell for like another 7 hours so they can get him out in the morning. And so, and I think, Attorney Weiss and I have some speculation about this. Maybe I'll let him, Jason, you go first and tell me what you think happened in that video that makes him so scared to get it out.
He was crying. He was vomiting. He was doing all of the things that he is ashamed of, embarrassed of. And this is a part of his life that he probably wants to put behind him. And I can respect that and I can honor that. However, when you are in a public place, like the side of a road, like in a jail cell, like in the back of a police car, and the body cam is rolling, I don't care if you are Justin Timberlake, if you are Sean Carter, or if you are Beyonce, or if you are me. we all get treated exactly the same. You have no right to privacy. You have no expectation of privacy. And that body cam footage could be, go ahead and release it. I mean, it's there. There's nothing to protect.
Really quickly,
guys,
we're running out of time. We're running out of time. Really quickly, on a scale of 1 to 10, how strong is this Sag Harbor case against Justin Timberlake? Attorney Carter?
It's strong. The only way that Justin can get out of this is if there is something in the video, like his social security number, etc. But the fact that he was crying me a river and he was crying like a little girl in a cell, and saying, "Please don't hurt me." No, that's getting out. We can watch that and make fun of it.
Okay, Attorney Weiss.
I think his chances of winning are like his blood alcohol level, probably like a 1.2.
All right, Nisha Phillips says Justin was drunk as a, you know what, and he's embarrassed that there's nothing new in Hollywood. All right, I agree. All right, everybody, this is the part of time of the show where you are the jury, and now the courtroom belongs to you. Don't forget to type guilty or not guilty in the court of public opinion rules. Now, we don't move on until we have 3 guilties or 3 not guilty votes for each case. All right, get ready, A-listers, get ready. I'm saying get ready. Vippa P says Justin has changed. He's aging and he drinks. Yeah, that alcohol will age you really quickly. First up, Cher's son, Elijah Blue Allman. Is he guilty in public opinion of reckless behavior or not guilty because arrest headlines are not convictions? Is Elijah Blue Allman, Cher's son, guilty or not guilty? Drop down in the chat, everybody. Drop down in the chat. Don't forget, I need 3 guilties. All right, Leandra says guilty. SL Warrior says guilty. And generally 197 says guilty. All right, Elijah Blue, you have been found guilty. Guilty as charged in Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. Next up, Quavo. Quavo, is he guilty in public opinion of financial negligence or not guilty because tax problems can be complicated, can be tested, and can be corrected? All right, jump down in the chat. Is Quavo guilty or not guilty? Generally says guilty. Sandra McGee says guilty. And Deliria Washington, welcome back, Deliria, says guilty. Quavo, sorry, buddy, you've been found guilty. Guilty in the court of public opinion. Next up, Pinky Cole, Chapter 11. Is Pinky guilty in public opinion of business mismanagement or not guilty because Chapter 11 can be a legal tool for rebuilding, not necessarily felon? So wait a minute. Guilty or not guilty, everybody? Is she guilty of business mismanagement? Well, Carol says absolutely guilty. Brenda K says not guilty. Doreen Pierce says guilty. Mimi Key says guilty. Anisha Phillips says guilty. And guess what? Unfortunately, Pinky, you've been found guilty. Guilty is charged for mismanaging people's burger money. All right, last but not least, Justin Timberlake. Is Justin Timberlake guilty in public opinion of trying to dodge accountability or not guilty because he deserves privacy? He has a reputation to protect and fair process concerns are legitimate. All right, is Justin Timberlake guilty? All right, Fuzzy Bigelow says guilty. Deliria Washington says guilty. MME, I'm not gonna find guilty. All right, Justin, sorry, buddy. You are to go straight to jail here in Celebrity Court. You've been found guilty. Guilty as charged. All right, we don't play in this courtroom right here. These algorithms have figured out how to find you guilty or not guilty in no time. And I love it when you guys decide who's guilty or not guilty. Tonight, all of you are guilty. All of you, guilty, guilty, guilty. All right, tonight we learned something simple. When a court says a bail breach, what it's really saying is you better get it together or you're going to jail. When the IRS files a lien, what it's really saying is we do not debate feelings, we follow the money. So show me the money. When someone files Chapter 11, that may not mean the dream is dead. It may mean the dream has entered its hardest negotiations and you better start paying before you get put out. And when someone fights to release a body cam, the real trial may no longer be legal guilt at all. It may be the fight between privacy, transparency, and who gets to control the story. In real court, you're innocent until proven guilty. In this court, the culture, we decide, because you don't have a say in our court. We decide if you're guilty or not guilty. And I love my A-listers because they will find your ass guilty. All right, I'm Al Reynolds, and this is Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop the next case and who you want to see on the docket. Everyone, thank you for joining us tonight on this Thursday, March 5th, and have a great night and a wonderful weekend. Court is now adjourned.